How are things going with you, sir?
Good. Hey, thanks for having me, y'all. It's good to be here.
Welcome. Rev, as you know, because you've been here before, we like to just jump in and have you play a song. Bob, is the stream streaming?
We are live streaming, y'all.
All
Let's
right.
stream on. All right. Well, future tripping all night long. I'm trying to figure out, what might go wrong, Yeah, waking up, and my mind's a mess. That's 'cause I keep forgetting lies of preciousness, 'cause yesterday's a history. Tomorrow's all a mystery. All I got is now, but I keep forgetting that somehow. Let's all face it, we all gonna die. Ain't nobody come back from that except maybe Jesus on high, all precious and permanent, got an attitude of gratitude, just gonna live my life, and stop asking why, 'cause yesterday's a history, tomorrow's all a mystery. All I got is now, but I keep on getting that somehow. Get what you want, that ain't real happiness. Seeking God in yourself, that's just a kind of emptiness, But if you can want just what you get, I tell you that's the best thing that I've found yet, 'cause yesterday's a history, tomorrow's our mystery. All I got is now, but I keep forgetting that somehow. Just remember, whatever you might do, good, bad, or beautiful, gonna come back on you. So you find yourself in a real hellish place. Better appeal to the better angels at the end and move on through that space. 'Cause yesterday's a history. Tomorrow's our mystery. 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 All I got is now. All we got is now. I say everything is now, man. Yo. Hey, like it.
Reverend Freakchild kicking us off in style here on Pass the Hat. That resonator guitar kind of barks, doesn't it? I saw the microphone like 18 feet away, and I thought that's too far away, but it might be too close.
It does
Yeah,
project.
for your listeners out there, this is a national steel guitar. They call it a round neck, but it's it's a nickel body, and they built these. They originally built them, around after the turn of the last century, to play with a big band. You could keep up with a bass and a drum, without an amplifier.
But speaking of microphones, y'all talk amongst yourself. I'm going to come over there, Reverend, and I'm gonna get that vocal microphone a little bit closer to you, so
okay.
we need more vocals in mixed in with that guitar that is washing everything out.
Let me get a little more in that way. Is that good?
Well, Rev, looks like you've been traveling around. You were in, I looked you up. You were in Virginia, and then
Yeah.
you're in South Carolina. And did you, back, say, last year with the pandemic in all its glory, did that slow you down much?
Oh yeah, man. I just. Oh wait. Speaking of which, I got some gifts for you guys. Yeah, I just held up, man. I'm trying to legitimize the Reverend Freakchild, so I've been working on my Master of Divinity. So I wrote this, or been working on this, my thesis called the Sober Spiritual Warrior. I'm going on 16 years sober here, and just to give a shout out for people out there, suffering with some kind of addictions. Just lay your hands on the radio, people, man. A lot of people out there that want to help you. So all you got to do is reach out. But yeah, so I kind of just shut it all down, man. And we went into the studio, and we had this Bodhisattva Blues album, and then just lots and lots of studio time. So we started recording this Super Mundane Blues album, which it was a bunch of tunes that kind of comforted me through the whole pandemic, and still comfort me, as we're opening up here, and
So how's it feeling out there? You feeling safe going around?
well, I don't know if I ever feel safe, man.
Yeah.
Even before, I worked with cancer kids and raised money for Ronald McDonald House in New York City, years ago, and we lived through the H1N1 virus,
Yeah.
and that was a
Right.
big scare, right? And not a lot of people know about that. So it's like, you don't want to be the guy that brings in a common cold and kills one of these kids, kind of
Yeah.
thing, and I got burnt out on that. But yeah, it woke me up to like, I just carry around Purell in my pocket, it's like, might as well, it's, we live through these plagues as humans, I think the earth will be fine, but the humans,
Well,
they're
they're
going to
never
come
gonna
and
be
go.
fine.
You know what I mean?
Well, and now you're in North Carolina and Nash Street Tavern tomorrow
Yes,
night?
tomorrow night,
All
7
right.
to 9, Nash Street.
Everybody
Drive,
get on
yes.
down there and
Right on, tomorrow night.
see a Reverend Freakchild in person. But you don't need to do that because we've got a lot of music
Right
coming
here,
up
man.
now.
He's in person right here, right now.
He is, right. And also in person out there on the different media, which we'll tell you about after this song. But what do you have for us next?
Yeah, we got another tune here. I'm just going to do all originals, man, tonight. Might as well. Actually, on the money theme, I got my little fun thing over here.
Cha-ching! Oh, we totally needed that earlier.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. Oh, thank you. Anyway, this is a tune. Speaking of traveling all around, yeah, this is a tune called "All Across America." Sometimes I feel like I'm in a movie, strange dreams of someone else's scenes, yeah. God is dead, or who's on hold, and everything just seems, well, everything seems so strange, and yet somehow so clear. Yeah, especially now, since I know I ain't got nothing to fear, yeah, but is that me in the mirror? Oh, Lord, what have I become? Yes, I do believe that's a dude that I've been running from. All across America, from California, yeah, to New York, down Texas to Maine and back again. He was there all the while. Well, I'm feeling a little down by law, just like a Lee Baby Sims. Ain't got nothing but my shoes in my head and maybe a couple of hymns. Yeah, well, now people, I ain't got nothing, no fortune, no fame. Just count me amongst the millions, but please don't misspell my name. Cause is that me in the mirror? Oh Lord, what have I become? Yes, I do believe that's a dude that I've been running from. All across America, from California, yeah, to New York, down Texas to Maine and back again. He was there all the while. about him just the other night. He was looking kind of strange to me. Yeah. He was trying to speak words of wisdom, yeah, and just let it be. Yeah, and then by dragonfly, we took an undersea journey. Stopped by Dylan's grave, paid our respects, and then ended up in Italy. But is that me in the mirror? Oh Lord, what have I become? Yes, I do believe that's the dude that I've been running from. All across America, from California, yeah, to New York, out. Texas to Maine and back again. He was there all the while.
More of those applause. Yes, sir.
You gotta get that Doppler effect on the end right there.
I like that vibrato thing you're doing. That's nice.
A little slide there, yeah. I'll tell you, I perfected this style in Amsterdam many years ago because I was too stoned to even, chord a guitar. So,
to do anything else.
Right.
So your hand was just shaking, and then you just fold that into your. Very nice. Born in Hawaii?
Well, I was actually born in the West Point of the Hudson River. My dad was a West Pointer.
That
so
is totally not Hawaii.
Yeah, and then I moved to Hawaii when I was 2.
And so how do you remember being a kid in Hawaii?
Oh, yeah, big time. That was my youth, man. I keep on asking my parents, when you guys moving back? It was a lark for my folks. I was a bit of a military brat, but my dad got out of the service and went into the private industry there and worked on the oil refinery out there. And it was beautiful, man. I mean, I grew up, I didn't wear shoes to school. It was that kind of thing, man. That was
Bob didn't either.
That's my kind of people right there.
Right, We moved back east, and my mom was like, you got to wear shoes to school. I was like, what? Like, it's not like we had to wear them on field trips, if we go to the zoo or something like that, in elementary school. And I was like, why do we have to wear them every day? And she's like, because it's going to start snowing,
And so much music at home when you were a kid?
Yeah, my mom was a classical pianist.
Oh, wow.
So they tried to turn me into one of those. That didn't really work. There was a lot of, I don't hear you practicing in there. I was like, yeah, like Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, blah, 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 blah.
They didn't turn you on to Jerry Lee Lewis like they should have.
Exactly. No, it's man, for those little folks out there listening, like people that are in the know of the classical world, it's pretty uptight, man. They either want to make you like the next, Vladimir Horowitz, or whatever, piano player, or,
It's a lot of pressure.
But I dig it, man. I mean, that's one of the things I missed over the pandemic. My lady and I, the lovely Lisa Marie, love of my life, we go to like date night and go to the symphony, man. We get dressed up. We go,
Very nice.
Denver. Where I live in Boulder, Colorado these days. So we would go to the Denver Symphony. Beautiful, and that was all shut down. But we did go this spring. We went out to Red Rocks. They had a show out there of all John Williams' music. The guy who did Star Wars and Jurassic Park and all that stuff, Indiana Jones, all that stuff.
So when did guitar enter your life?
Man, yeah, that was a teenage kind of rebellion thing. I remember getting the first guitar, buying it for my friend, and then 2 weeks later smashing it. It was like, yeah, this is awesome.
So you were watching a lot of Pete Townsend videos.
Exactly, like this is rock and roll, man. This is awesome. And I did that with a couple other acoustics. I think that was just teenage angst, but.
So that took you getting metal guitar, which.
Exactly. Yeah, you could probably beat somebody to death with this National and still play well, kind of thing. Anyway, so I started playing music when I was. Really young as a piano player, and then listening to all that crazy stuff. Wow, my dad turned me on to the blues, man. We drive around.
That's a good dad right there.
Oh yeah, people would ask when he comes to shows. They're like, oh wow, did you get your Fordham? That's my given name, Fordham. Did Fordham get did the Rev get music from you? And he says, no, I don't play an instrument. I play the stereo really well, but he did, man. He played Muddy Waters and. Howlin' Wolf, and he was a big fan of all the harp players, the Sonny Boy Williams and stuff like that, Little Walter. So I got that education, and it was funny because when I, was in those teenage years, I kind of had this weird thing where it was like I was loving punk rock music, but I was also hanging out with a lot of hippies, just rebelling any way I could. And there we are, like tripping on acid, listening to the Grateful Dead, and I'm like, wait, that's Big Boss Man, that's Jimmy Reed, and people are like, no, this is the Grateful Dead, man. I was like, no, that's the
What
Grateful
are you
Dead
talking about?
doing a Jimmy Reed. Yeah, we're both talking about the same thing. So actually, with this Bodhisattva Blues album, we went back and I made friends with this guy Mark Caron, who actually played in Rat Dog for years with Bob Weir, and we were having chicken and waffles in some place in Fairfax, California, there in Marin County, and we were just talking about how all the blues has gone through the set lists, of all those hippies, and the Grateful Dead really mined the American Songbook and wrote their own, but there's a lot of blues influence. It's like people, when I grew up, it was like going to see Garcia, and I was always like, man, I wonder what it was like when Pigpen was there. And for people that are not in the Grateful Dead, like Pigpen was this guy Ron McCarran. He was a blues dude. His dad was actually a disc jockey.
Oh,
and
no
played
kidding.
race records, as they were called back
Yep.
then, And so, here's this white boy singing the blues, which is really my dad. I hear him keep on saying, white boy singing the blues, that's called what you call rock and roll. It's like, but the Grateful Dead sort of bringing that out to a wider audience or whatever, and pretty edgily, But so I was always fascinated with Pigpen, and people now, like seeing John Mayer being like, oh man, I wonder what it was like with, Jerry Garcia. So that whole hippie thing continues, and I, finally was like, all right, there's some skeletons in the closet, man, and brought them out, and got like Melvin Seals to play organ on this album. It was cool.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So speaking of the album, your website, I looked it up, but
Yeah.
make sure I get it right. So tell us the website.
Well, yeah, it's treatedandreleaserecords.com. That's you can type that one in. It's easier. Just type Reverend Freakchild into your electronic synthonic replicator. Something will pop up, man.
Yep,
It'll
yep,
pop up.
you'll
Bunch of
find 'em
stuff
that way.
pops up. Yep. Or you could just keep tuning in right now
Right
because
here,
you're going to
man,
play a
yeah.
song, right?
Yep, listen a little louder because we're going to hear some more Reverend Freakchild.
Well, speaking of Amsterdam and all the hippies and everything, man, I wrote this tune when I was over there. I was actually working on this psychedelic trip hop mass, which is on. There's like 2 albums kind of I'm touring around because we didn't get to tour on the Bodhisattva Blues last summer. So we did a lot of work on this album called the Super Mundane Blues, and there's a bonus disc on there, which is the psychedelic mass. It's about 20 minutes, but it's a liturgical mass. God have peace on mercy on us, peace, all that stuff. Jesus have peace. And my mama was a Texas Presbyterian, she used to read to us out of the Bible, and she was a classical musician too. But she wasn't a religious zealot. It was just like that's what Texas Presbyterians do.
That's what
man,
you do.
After dinner, they read out of the Bible. They've been doing 100 years in this country, hundreds of years and thousands of years in the old country ever since, Martin Luther, printed up those Bibles in his backyard or whatever. But, so when I dropped acid when I was 16, man, I thought I was Jesus for that weekend. It got a little complicated.
You might have been.
I was like, I don't want to, don't feed the insanity, man. No, I was like, I don't want that job, man. That's a heavy duty trip, man. So, anyway, I spent some time over in Amsterdam when I was still using, and I was just mostly stoned and taking psychedelic mushrooms, but we were working on this trip hop mass, trying to make sense of a psychedelic experience. And so over the pandemic, it was like, people talking about cleaning out their basements and cleaning out, their attics or whatever, they had some downtime. I cleaned out the skeletons in my closet, man, which was like this crazy psychedelic vision. So I got this wonderful shaman, poet woman, Val, who calls herself Reverend Galaxy, to sort of be like Virgil in Dante's Inferno and like walking you through this thing. So anyway, that's a little bonus thing. But anyway, like William Blake says, the path of excess hopefully leads to the palace of wisdom. So here's a little tune about the Amsterdam blues. Well, now, I'm riding high, but I'm feeling low. 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 Once I started, Lord, yeah, Lord only knows. I'm riding high, but I'm feeling low. I'm riding high, but I'm feeling low. Just grooving down Amsterdam, trying to get my senses satisfied. Sex and smoke everywhere. Think you went to heaven and died. Well, no temple but a coffee shop. 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 Once I started, Lord, Lord knows I couldn't stop. No temple but a coffee shop. No temple but a coffee shop. Just grooving down Amsterdam, I'm trying to get my senses satisfied. Sex and smoke everywhere. Think you went to heaven and died. that a shame? I'm black and blue, ain't that a shame? I'm black and blue, ain't that a shame? I'm black and blue, ain't that a shame? Ain't got nobody, ain't got nobody but myself to blame. I'm black and blue, ain't it a shame? I'm black and blue, ain't it a shame? Just grooving down in Amsterdam, trying to get my senses satisfied. Sex and smoke everywhere. Think you went to heaven and died.
Is he done yet, Kurt?
I'm not saying a thing until we're sure.
Reverend Freakchild here in the studio, and Reverend, I know several people who would tell you that a coffee shop is a temple.
Well, this is true, you know, and I took it to be the temple for many, many years, but I got caught in that psychedelic cul-de-sac, man, you know, just kept going round and round and round. And now I've been sitting on the cushion, man, you know, it doesn't cost as much, and it's a lot more stable, and
and you still get a good show. You can still watch and see what's going on.
Yeah, you start to watch the watcher, and then you wear out the watcher, and then you just become one with the surroundings. And you know, it's like drugs for me, man, was like window shopping, man. You know, it's like, that's awesome, man. But it's the thing that brings you there is the thing that holds you back. You know what I mean? So I don't want to get preachy on you, but I don't know what you thought. You know, having the Reverend Freakchild here. You know?
We kind of knew what we were getting into.
Oh yeah, no, I got nothing bad to say about drugs, man. You know, the referent object is neither, you know, like Shakespeare says, you know, things are not neither good or bad. It's thinking that makes them so, you know. So it's like it's the clinging to them that is the trouble for me, man. You know, it's like
the clinging, the obsession.
Yeah, exactly, man. You know, the addiction, man. That's the thing, the disease of addiction. It's like I'm not to blame for that, but I am responsible for my own recovery, man. You know, it's like I'm this kind of person that, you know, my drug was more, baby. Whatever, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Remember, it's like in Spinal Tap, where he's like, "What if you didn't have rock and roll?" Well, I could just do with the sex and the drugs, you know.
For a while.
So this record, 2020 record.
Yes.
How many tracks are on there?
That I think there's 12 tracks on there.
And did you you'd mentioned you had really great other musicians with you. Did was this everybody together in the studio, or people coming in one at a time doing tracks, or what?
Well, you know, it sort of started with Chris Parker. Me and Chris Parker. Chris Parker is a guy who, you know, you played with Dylan and Joe Cocker and Johnny Hammer Jr. I mean, he's just named somebody he's played with, Stevie Wonder, all kinds of different people, you know. And we met on the scene, and he was like, "Man, we got to get a project together." So I was like, "All right." So we went into the studio, you know, and we just banged out some tunes one time, and that became the Hillbillies and Punks Blues album, and we just added things to it. So it was like, yeah, in answer to your question, the canvas is really like Chris and I doing, like, you know, like it's like drum and a fife, you know, it's like, you know, the hill country kind of, you know, here we are in Hillsborough, you know, it's like the hill country, you know, blues is like, people don't really realize that origin is like American is an amazing melting pot of not only people but musical styles. So, you know, after the Civil War, they let the soldiers take home the drums and the fifes that they gave them.
Sure.
You know? And the drum was to do the marching into the battle, and the fife was to signal flanks and, you know, whatever, go ahead, stop, all that stuff, because it cut through, right? So you get this, you know, tradition of that where you have a beat and a melody, right? So Chris and I are like, okay, you got the beat, I got the melody, man, you know? And then if it needs something, we can put some bass on it, we can put, you know, some harmonica, all that kind of stuff. So it's almost like a canvas, and then Chris and I put the energy on there, and then people sculpt around it. So yeah, to answer your question, we sent it actually all over, you know, the country, both those times, you know, like, you know, Mark Caron out in California, and on this latest album, got my buddy Reverend Sean Amos to do some harmonica and backup vocals from Texas, you know, and then WHUP in New York City, where we did their live tracks. But yeah, it's pretty amazing with the technology, man. You can do that. So there's both. Maybe that's a long answer to your question.
No,
like,
no,
it's both,
answer.
right? It's both and, you know, kind of thing. Yeah.
And great to be able to, especially when nobody can travel, you can still
You still make it
creative.
happen. Yeah.
We did a lot of that over the pandemic. It's crazy. I mean, we had so much material. We put out this double CD with the bonus track of the psychedelic mass. So, yeah, it's pretty. It's fun that way too. Like adding things and creating sounds that you wouldn't necessarily need or could create, in a live situation. So, and sort of playing with both of those. Yeah, definitely cool. Yeah.
So this double album, did you happen to bring it with you?
I do. I got it right here for you, man.
Are we gonna? You get to be our host for the last 30 minutes or so. Are we gonna hear some of that tunes?
I was thinking, there's there's a couple of John Lennon tunes, and it's John Lennon's birthday tomorrow. Maybe we'll play those.
Perfect.
Right off the album. Okay, cool. So stick around, kids. We're taking calls. We're playing albums.
It's gonna be a
Anyway.
fun show for the next 90 minutes. Okay, next hour.
Oh, cool. Well, speaking of hippies and blues, this is a tune called the Hippie Blues Man Blues that I wrote after it took a long time to write this tune, even though it's a simple little song. It's and sometimes you write a tune because it can heal you, right? It brings awareness to the situation, a little acceptance to it, maybe a little action, And I was in San Francisco, Jesus, many years ago. I always have to add another year with that, after the pandemic, right? Like, wait, this was 3? No, that was 4 years ago, And word to the wise, just for those of you that don't know, this is an old folk trick. You tell a story while you're tuning up. So I'll tell you the story of getting all my stuff smashed and grabbed as the intro to this tune. Anyway, I'm in San Francisco, or as the Miwok people call it, the mouth of the Sundown Sea, which I thought was such a beautifully poetic description of the Bay Area. The mouth of the Sundown Sea.
That's a much better word.
Yeah, beautiful, right? I guess that's in translation, but
yeah, I wonder what the word was in Miwok.
Exactly, I don't know, but intense. So when I found that out, we put that in the song. But yeah, I got everything smashed and grabbed. I mean, it was brutal. Like 2 guitars, ukulele, gig bag with like $400 in it. Like it even took my clean laundry, man. I'd done laundry the night before. It was just like brutal. It was just. And I was staying at the Green Gulch Monastery at the time, so I was like, maybe I'll just become a monk, man. And I was like, and then I was like, maybe I'll call up my girlfriend first.
Good call.
But so. Yeah, after that, it was like, you turn the obstacles into the path of awakening. Like, I wrote this tune. I finally got together with a Boulder poet, and we, I was able to sort of talk about it and laugh about it, and I had my Lama Tempo. My Lama kept on, like, being like, oh, if your mother dies or your father dies or something dramatic happens, like, you get all your musical instruments stolen. I'd be like, oh, man, it still hurts, So, anyway, I looked at this guitar the day before, and I got my stuff smashed and grabbed, and I was like, went back up to Tall Toad Music in Petaluma, and I was like, this is the silver lining on that story, man. Like, my mama loaned me a bunch of money, and this was the silver lining, man.
Kind of a literal silver lining.
Exactly, right? And so you turn the obstacles into the path of awakening, man. When you get the lemons, you got to make the lemonade. So, and that came out of, I was trying to find somebody to play lead guitar on it, and I asked Mark Karen, and I said, dude, you're the real hippie blues man. You played with, like, the whole Grateful Dead family, plus you're really like a big blues fan. And he said, all right, I'll play on it. So that started our relationship out, and now we're talking about even doing another album here too, a more hippie blues man album. But so anyway, word to the wise, when bad things happen, you got to make them good, Well, now the mouth of the Sundown Sea has swallowed all my stuff. They got my guitars and my gear, holy suitcase, it was rough. Well, I'm standing there in a puddle of my own tears. Yeah, with my flesh and my bones just laughing at my fears. Well, now ain't no problem, the only solution's here. I think I'm gonna join the revolution. I got the hippie, blues man blues. Well, now I just crossed the path of a black cat. Well, but I seem to be stuck in this psychedelic cul-de-sac. Well, I got a mojo hand and a gypsy Winneman too. Well, she gave me advice, but I forgot what to do. Ain't no problem, only solution, yeah. I think I'm gonna join the revolution. I got the hippie, blue man blue. revolution. I got the heavy blues man blues. Now if you wanna sing the blues, yeah, you got to get to church. Yeah, swim in them muddy waters, yeah, and do some research. Where's a lonely little man, yeah, howling out the moon. Yeah, but don't worry, son, you'll be feeling better soon. Well, there ain't no problem, only solutions, yeah. I think I'm gonna join the revolution. Got the heavy blues man blues. I got the heavy blues man blues. I got the heavy blues man blues.
Reverend Freakchild here live on Pass the Hat.
Everybody, this is WHUP LP Hillsborough.
And you are listening to Pass the Hat, and support for Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsborough, North Carolina, provider of all of Piedmont, North Carolina, with the finest chocolates ever. The good Reverend is modeling this fantastic.
Look at this, and I get to eat this?
Whatever you want to do with it.
Oh, hallelujah! It's got a little microphone on it. People, look at this. It's so beautiful. I mean, this is amazing. You know, I don't partake of the heavy chemicals, but I will eat some chocolate, man. I mean, you know, as a blues man, I did some time, got some illegitimate children, and working on the sugar diabetes. You know what I mean? So this is perfect for me.
We're doing our bit to help you out. Matthew makes one of these custom made every Friday afternoon for our Pass the Hat guests. Custom artwork. It's not just chocolate, but the artwork he does to those things are just fantastic. And everything Matthew makes is wonderful. Truffles, marshmallows, ice cream, gelato, cocoa, anything you can think of. It's just everything chocolate related and chocolate accessories over there at Matthews. Just go and get some because it's all good.
Come with this free shot of insulin. No, that's great, man. Thank you so much. That's beautiful, man. I'll be working on that. That'll keep me driving through for the rest of the tour here back to Colorado.
Exactly. And just to reset, you are listening to Pass the Hat with Reverend Freakchild. Reverend's got another half hour playing us some fantastic live music. And
tell us where we're streaming, Bob.
We are streaming at WHUP Pass the Hat, WHUP Pass the Hat, on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitch.
All the code from Twitch got stolen. Was our code stolen?
Our code well, they reset everything, but we're back.
Yay!
All right. I mean, all they could go do is steal from us is our videos, which we're giving away. We want you to watch the videos. So,
and if your computer doesn't have a screen but it still has speakers, you can go on WHUPFM.org and just keep clicking, and you'll click the play button. You won't be able to see it, but.
Just click somewhere. Actually, if you go to WHUPFM.org during the show, it's just automatically playing. Turn the speakers up, and you're good to go.
There you go.
All right.
Good, Reverend?
Yes, sir.
What was your first introduction to the blues?
You know, like I was saying, my dad used to play me the blues, but, I think it must have been him. I can't recall the exact song, but...
Do you remember some early songs that just kind of stuck with you and stuck in your brain?
Well, I must have, my dad played me all those old blues tunes, and as a kid, you just it's the soundtrack, it's like, I remember actually being at, speaking of, sort of the beautiful oscillating tone of the blues, I grew up in Hawaii when I was a little kid, from when I was 2 to 9, and my dad was working with this big sort of corporation thing, PRI out there, and they would have these big, holiday parties, right? And when I got into Caleb Beamer, I don't know if people know about him. He's a Hawaiian guitar player, and Gabi Papa Nui. They play slack key, but it's the the Spanish sailors brought over these guitars, and then the Hawaiians tuned them down, so it was much more slack, man.
Right,
it was relaxed, So, and my dad was like, you were at some of those parties that they were playing at when we'd hire them, those were the local players, and they just became internationally known for Hawaiian music. So that kind of, tone that's, synonymous with the blues, and then also, country music with like pedal steel is Hawaiian. There's a big sort of, connection there with that, and it mimics the voice,
exactly.
It's a beautiful kind of amazing thing with the instrument. So
that just kind of seeped in
yeah,
into your
like
early
in the
childhood.
background. My dad playing with all that blues music, and then my mom, of course, playing with all that classical music. I mean, it was like my childhood was like musically filled with all kinds of insanity. Listening to Igor Stravinsky with I remember the radio never really came in quite well when my mom listened to it in the car, and then jamming with my dad on the weekends, blasting music in the car, and then listening to the Hawaiian sounds. It was like, wow, I was like inundated with a whole bunch of different sounds. But that's a good question, man. I do remember listening to that Rumors album, which is very, blues influenced. Lindsey Buckingham plays a steel on one of those tunes, and my dad must have listened to that album like 1,008 times.
That's curious. I was talking with Eric across the street at Yonder just a couple of hours ago, and we had the same conversation, and he said, Bob, what was your first introduction to the blues? And I had to think about it because, hey, my name's Robert Johnson, right? But I had to say, as near as I can remember, it was Led Zeppelin 2.
Sure.
Which was, it's big, hard rocking album, but it was all blues laden, and that kind of set the rhythm for me. And it wasn't until later that I found my namesake, Robert Johnson, and really fell in love with the blues.
There you go, man. Well, yeah, you can't avoid that, man. You got to do a little ode to the Robert Johnson if your name's Robert Johnson. Well, and thanks again for having me on the show. Privileged to be with any Robert Johnson, the old one, the new one, the living one. You right here, my man. Thank you.
I happen to be a living one, one amongst many.
I know. I have a friend in New York whose name's Robert Johnson too, and my dad came out to see me, and I said, "Hey, man, this is my friend Robert Johnson." He was like, "Man, you come on." I was
You
like,
don't
"No,
look
seriously."
anything like Robert Johnson.
Exactly. But I'm a big fan of people like Sunhouse who apparently taught Robert Johnson everything he knew. He was a preacher, and then he became a bluesman. And there's people like Skip James who were bluesmen and became preachers. Reverend Gary Davis, people like that. That whole blues reverend tradition. I feel like I hopefully I'm honoring that, to some degree, and
passing it along.
Using some of the tools of blues music to enlighten, maybe educate, and entertain. So.
Oh, hey, speaking of entertaining, we need you to play another song, but first we got to remind people to go out and consume this live music everywhere.
Oh, right.
Tonight, right across the street, we had Daniel Markham here in the studio. He's going to be playing over there with Catherine Whalen starting at 8 o'clock tonight, and the good Reverend Freakchild, of course. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, is going to be playing down at Nash Street Tavern.
Yeah.
So you got Friday night and Saturday night covered. I'm going to cover Sunday for you. Sunday
Right on.
afternoon at from 3 to 6. 3 to 6 over at Full Stream Brewery's new location out on West 54 where it intersects with Mebane Oaks Road. They're going to be hosting a concert with Fair to Midland and Love and Valor in support of the Mountains of Sea Trail. The Mountains of Sea Trail, of course, is the trail that runs through Hillsboro. They're going to connect with a trail down in Pittsboro that runs down right across the property of Full Steam and across my property, by the way. I will be a host of the Mountains of the Sea Trail. So they're raising money to start. They've got the trail located to start actually building the trails over the next year and a half or so. So get down there. And then to end off your Sunday, head down to the Kraken, which is a little bit east of the Mountains of the Sea Trail party at Full Stream Brewery. The Kraken is hosting their second Sunday Songwriter Showcase with hosted by Glenn 2N Jones, and he's going to have there with him John Saylor, Lynn Blakey, and Eki, and that's going to be just a fantastic, good, fun time. If you've not seen John Saylor, not enough people have seen John Saylor. He's great fun. So that's it, all the fantastic music going on, and we've got the good Reverend here with us. Reverend, play some music, man. I'm talking too much.
Let's play some more, yeah. And we'll be playing some tonight. Just stick around and lay hands on the radio here or the live stream or whatever you're doing, And and tomorrow night be down at the Nash Street Tavern there from 7 to 9. So more. But we were talking before about a little.
Cha-ching.
I guess man, debt ceilings and budgets and all kinds of stuff. It's like. Money makes the world go round, And they say it's not money that's evil. It's the love of money. It's the clinging to the money. But I guess we were talking before the show too. It's like you think about the blues. And Sunhouse talked about the blues ain't nothing but a man and woman trying to get together. But what helps them get together is a little money. Tears of fire. Yeah, tears of fire. tears of fire. Yeah, tears of fire. Oh, tears of fire. Lord, quench my desire. Yeah, tears of fire. Words in a hand. Yeah, tears of fire. Yeah, words in her hand. Well, now she said she'd call me later. Yeah, but then she took a call from another rich man. Yeah, tears of fire. Yeah. Yeah, tears of fire. Try to put a rose in her hand. Yeah, tears of fire. Try to put a rose in her hand. Well, now it seems she's always got her tongue wrapped around, yeah, the name of another man. Yeah, tears of fire. What's a man to do? Yeah, tears of fire. What's a man to do? Yeah, these tears of fire got me singing these here blues. Yeah, tears of fire. I got the burning eye. Yeah, tears of fire. I got the burning eye. Yeah, tears of fire. Got me so weary, my oh my.
Ching.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So tell us about this Buddhist university that you've done studying in.
Yes, the Buddhist-inspired Naropa University, named after the 11th century Mahasiddha, or it's kind of like a Buddhist saint, but a realized adept. But it's a cool, it's like a hippie school, man. But there's this guy Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, sometimes referred to as the Vidyadhara, the protector. He was a Tibetan Buddhist, got driven out in '59 to India, and then, was a smart dude, and got educated at Oxford, and then came over to Canada, and then came down, and then I guess he got asked to lecture in Colorado. That's how he ended up there. And in the early '70s, there was an institute. Ram Dass and all the beats were there, man. William Burroughs, and they have a thing called the Disembodied School of Poets. Jack Kerouac, Disembodied School of Poets. This amazing triple Aries lady, Ann Waldman, who runs that. But I'm in the religious studies department, man. It's like, making the most of my midlife crisis, man. I went back to school. I'd done the drug thing, man. I got I'd done the womanizing thing, man. I was never really into fast cars, so it was like, wow, maybe I'll spend my money on going back to school, and
That'll show them.
Yeah, exactly. rebel against the whole universe, man. Well, that's what they say. He's like you're going against the stream. When the Buddha finally realized that the extremes weren't the way, man. He grew up really rich and then just took off, and then he was an ascetic. Which is like just like a mendicant. Wandering around, and you don't really have those kind of people here. More of the homeless people are kind of like mentally ill here. But I traveled around in India, man. I did a Buddhist pilgrimage there in 2012, and you see these naked sadhus like with ash all over them, and it's really respectful that people are on these spiritual journeys, man. Like it's not just inside the church, man. It's everywhere. It's on the Ganga,
right?
It's everywhere, So yeah, after that 2012 pilgrimage, I just couldn't hold it back, and I needed to find a place to study, and I've been out there for 7 years now.
It sounds like it took hold of you.
It did, and I really did like 2 master's degrees out there. I did like an Indo-Tibetan degree, which they call it, sort of like studying Sanskrit and Tibetan and all the Buddhist theory, which is like Mahayana Buddhism. There's all kinds of different kinds of Buddhism, and that's what I learned about. There's all these different turnings of the wheel and the stories of the Buddha, and there's later saints and blah, 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 Mahasiddhas. And then, Zen Buddhism, and then there's Theravada Buddhism, all blah, 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 blah. But, and then I'm working on the end of my Master of Divinity, which is like, most people like do that to, become a reverend or a chaplain or something. I was like, man, maybe I'll just legitimize the Reverend Freakchild with this Buddhist degree. So now I'm actually studying with a woman who is right here from North Carolina. She's in Hendersonville, right
up in the hills.
Way. Yeah. And Panawati at Hartwood, and she's this little black lady, but she was, a holy roller, and she then found the Dharma, as they say, or the Buddhist teachings, and now she's a Buddhist monk. So she's just like so amazing, man. It's just like she's got all the Christianity, so there's no conflict, but she's all about the Buddhism and Taoism and Mahayana and Theravada. It's just like everything is cool, man.
She sounds like it would be a fun person just to sit down and talk to for a while.
Oh man, and she's just amazing. She's just. There's, I don't know if, your listeners or you guys ever, like, just ran into people that are just sort of, like, have that, wow, what's going on? Like, when I first sat with the Dalai Lama, back in New York at Radio City Music Hall, I was like, what is that guy? The guy's, like, way happy. Like, I got to get what that guy's got. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of thing. So, and people ask me, well, man, you were raised Texas Presbyterian. What's going on with that? And I say, I don't know. Maybe I was a Buddhist in the past life, man. There's no conflict, man. Religious harmony can't happen, man, if we work at it.
You can fit it all together.
Working on it, baby. Working on it. Yeah, man. Well, speaking of, Naropa and the teachings and all that stuff, sometimes I can't remember some of these teachings. So, actually in the Buddhist day, they put a lot of the teachings to popular songs that were of the day. And so I did that with a tune called Dial It In, which is on the Dial It In album here. But and I was heartened to see that you guys have the Dial It In album right up there, man.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
so much. Yeah, it's beautiful artwork by Chris Parker, the drummer on this album. But I got my old friend, he calls himself G-Love, my old friend Garrett Dutton to play some harmonica on this. We used to play on the streets together in Boston, and, God bless him. He worked hard and got famous, and he's all over the world, and I crawled into a bag of drugs, for 20 years.
I need a name like G-Love. That's just a great name.
Man, he was great. I always dug his thing, man. I saw him playing in Cambridge, in the green pastures of Harvard University, and there he was, just jamming out, and Garrett will cop to this too. He doesn't sing because he can't sing. He raps. That's why he sings, And there he was, like doing this kind of setup, It's like the whole one-man band thing. And I remember walking by with this keyboard player. We were in this band called Banana Fish, which are actually putting out the 25th anniversary album of it next year, which is a whole other conversation, Banana Fish. But that was the jam band that we were in, and I was there walking with this keyboard player, this guy Dan Simone, beautiful cat, and I said, man, that dude's doing the modern blues. He's doing modern talking blues.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the technology of this dude, and he's just telling a story over it. And my friend was like, yeah, whatever. He wasn't really so into the blues, but he was like, man, I like his pants, though. He had these, like, cool, like, golf pants on that he was styling, And the next day, Garrett was working in this sandwich shop. And I said, dude, weren't you playing on the street the other day? He was like, yo, man. Like his whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And he sat down. We had, like, 20-minute, half-hour conversation. And I was like, dude, don't you have to go back and work? He was like, yeah, man, F that job, whatever, kind of thing. And he gave me a free sandwich, and then I had him open up for this Banana Fish band a whole bunch of dates, and he met his drummer, and then the drummer was, like, in some other famous band, and blah, blah, blah. They got the record deal and everything, and I was, like, really happy for him. So I got this tune together, and
the producer of the album, this guy Hugh Poole, was like, man, it sounds like a G Love and Special Sauce song. And I was like, I guess I could call up Garrett and like ask if he wants to play some harmonica on it. And he was just so gracious. He's like, yo, man. Yo, Freakchild, it's been a minute since I talked to you, all that kind of stuff. I call him hippie hop, he's a hippie hopper,
Nice.
But he's great, and he's like bringing the old blues into the modern era. So anyway, got him to play on this track and a whole bunch of other cats from New York too. So this is a tune about the four immeasurables, letting go of the 8 mundane concerns and embracing the four immeasurables, which are loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity, and letting go of. Let's see if I can remember. I got to put them into song. It's loss and gain, obscurity and fame, praise and blame, and pleasure and pain. But anyway, it goes a little something like this. In the crossroads of my mind as the highway hums with the rhythm of time. I got a troubadour sense of the coincidence cruise, rambling on the river in the highway blues. I'm gonna drive till I get lost and found, and again I'm gonna turn on the radio and dial it in. I'm going about 70, 80 miles an hour, just a feeling the sound and the road trans power. Dial it in all night long, yeah, grooving tunes with the radio on. Dial it in. Gonna be alright. Yeah, the darkest hour, right before the light, died it in. Well, now, can we go beyond what we think of as right and wrong, like loss and gain, obscurity and fame, praise and blame, and pleasure and pain, into the sea of equanimity with a compassion beyond identity, abiding in the highest of kind with the wisdom of love and them joyous signs. Dial it in all night long, all grooving tune with the radio on. Dial it in, gonna be alright. Yeah, the darkest hour, right before the light. So dial it in, gonna be alright. Yeah, the darkest hour, right before the light. So dial it in, ain't nothing wrong. Gonna be alright, gonna be out of sight, yeah. Dial it in. Crickets. I gotta have my audience.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
See, none of your other songs ended on a hard stop like that. We did not.
No.
We did not expect that.
It was a little different one. We would like to make it, it's like listening to a Freakchild album is like listening to like a movie soundtrack. Like
We had just
can't
expected that to be a
pigeonhole, man.
false ending, and you had another 10 minutes to go. Reverend Freakchild, y'all having a big fun time here in the studio. Man,
Just Google Reverend Freakchild, and his whole life will pop up,
and all kinds of fantastically good music too.
and videos and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine do the video to that. His dad was a big fan of our music, and his dad died right about that time, so I got him to make the video, and then there's some fun stuff. The Hippie Bluesman Blues video is really fun too. It's a cartoon, so that was a real fun thing to do.
So where you heading off to after?
Let's see.
Saturday night you're going to Nash Street Tavern, just a mile down the road. But where from there?
Well, then I'm in Brevard.
Are you heading up to the hills? Nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
Nice this time of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, a little Sunday preaching at Oscar Blues up there
It's
on Sunday
peak
afternoon.
leaf season there right now too.
Yeah, 2 to 4, and then where do I go? I go to I might catch the Dead show in I think they're coming to Columbia or Charlotte or something. I don't know.
Somewhere.
Yeah, someplace around. Maybe I'll catch that on Monday night. But then Tuesday, Knoxville, doing, and then where from there? Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis, Tulsa, and then back home. When we started booking this tour, like the Delta thing wasn't a thing, and then it was
Exactly.
I was like, I came across the country and I was like, what, man? And really, I made this. I hadn't seen my mama in 2 years, and she's suffering under some dementia, and my dad's been taking care of her, so I stayed back there for about a month there in
Hard
Connecticut.
times.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, all my, drug use has actually trained me quite well. To be people like you can just talk about anything, and then they're like, "Wait, Tuesday? What day is it? What's going on?" It's like, "Oh, right, I'm used to these stoners." Like my mom's just like totally just in the moment, kind of thing. But so that was bittersweet to go back there and be there for about a month and help them out, and that was really, so I did a whole bunch of dates coming across the country from Colorado, where I'm making my home now, and sort of the Midwest, and then Northeast, Maine, all that kind of stuff, and then it was just weird, for folks that don't know, we got the Dada art show in here. We got the shower curtain. I played a gig in.
It's our Instagram filter between the two of us.
It's like an Instagram filter. I played a gig in Charlottesville like this, and
we thought we put this up. We thought it was going to be here for a couple of weeks.
Right.
It's been a year now.
Yeah, man, and it's strange. I guess welcome to the new world. The brave new world or whatever. But yeah, so I was gonna go do the Deep South and everything, but Radio Joe, who and I know,
Yep.
God bless Radio Joe. He hurt his back, so let's send some healing vibes out to the Radio Joe.
Get better, Joe.
And he and I were, we usually like go through the South, like Bama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and I just said, hey man, let's just cut it short. I'll go back to Colorado. I got to finish my thesis for my master's degree anyway, so I was like, I can get back and working on that. But yeah, I just been trying to be safe on the road and try not to sneeze on people. I got the vax, and hope everybody else getting the vax. I'm getting a booster when I get back and all that stuff. It's like, that's one of the advantages of being a former drug addict. I was like, dude, whatever, man. I'm not afraid of this vaccine, bro.
Poke it in me. I've had all kinds of stuff
I'm gonna get high off it, bro. I haven't been that dope sick in so long. In like 16 years, I was like, whoa, that was a lot of information coming into my body,
That
man.
means your immune system is alive and awake and working.
People, I think, don't understand. It's like that thing goes through you, and it just produces the anti-gens, blah, 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 the science, blah, blah, and then it produces that stuff so that when you run into it, it's like, yo, man.
We know you, and we're going to kill you now. Yes.
I don't know if that's correct, at least the science.
That's basically the science right there. We've got a few more minutes, Reverend. You got another song to close us out?
Yeah, let's do one more. This is a tune by, that's inspired by St. John of Patmos, and for those of you that don't know, he was the guy that wrote that last book in the Book of Books, Anyway, it goes a little something like this. When that moon come up blood red, yeah, and the seas begin to boil, yeah, may the Lord, yeah, have mercy on us all. Yeah, may we all hear them angels call. 'Cause you don't miss nothing till it's gone. Yeah, you don't miss your water till your well run dry. So you don't miss nothing till it's gone. And I miss my baby, miss her all night long. When that lamb signs that seventh seal, yeah, and the devil offers you one last ditch deal. May the Lord have mercy on us all. And may we all hear them angels call. Don't miss nothing till it's gone. You don't miss your water till your well run dry. there's a hard stop.
There's a hard stop. Reverend Freakchild here on Pass the Hat. We are right at 7:30, 7:31. Actually, we're going to turn off the live stream. Reverend, wave goodbye to the live stream. Y'all stick around. You can listen on WHUPFM.org, and it's there forever. It's archived there forever. Get out there to our WHUPFM.org/shows. Scroll down to Pass the Hat, and you can find this one. It'll be there all the time. And, of course, you can find these videos